Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we're going to talk about F. Wesley Sneijder's Dragonlance, Shadow of the Dragon Queen. And we're going to talk specifically about an incredibly important aspect of the end of Chapter 3, which is When Home Burns. Wow, that's a powerful title, right? It's not When Vogler Burns, right? It's When Home Burns, right? F. Wesley Sneijder wants you to feel this. He's saying, hey, I definitely want you to think about your home burning, right? When you run this, right? And when your players play this, I want you to think of what would happen if your home burned, right? It's not when Vogler burns, right? It's when home burns, right? And what I want to talk about today is F. Wesley Sneijder's discussion of sojourners and refugees within Dragonlance, Shadow of the Dragon Queen. All right, so we're in Vogler, this quaint little fishing village in Solamnia, right? And the Baz Draconians, right? I've been confused about whether it's Draconian or Dragonoid. It is Draconian, right? The Draconians. And these are these corrupted humanoids, right? Dragon eggs are being used to create these draconians, right? So, and they're very evil, right? And they lead the dragon forces, the dragon soldiers, so the draconians are literally they're flesh of Tiamat, right? They actually have draconian aspects. They have wings. They have a breath weapon, right? They are incredibly dangerous, right? And they are like a piece of not just a dragon in Krynn, but a god across Dungeons & Dragons realms, right? Tiamat and Paladine are not just dragons. They are Dungeons & Dragons gods from the realms of Dungeons & Dragons, from Dragonlance, from Krynn. And it's been clarified, this isn't Takesis, one tiny little god in one realm. This is a realm spanning every world god, right? And so basically these draconians are flesh of Tiamat, right? And, which connects them to every Dungeons & Dragons world. Yes, right, every one, which means Faerun, and Dominaria. Right? Do you understand the impact of that? Do you understand where this is going? Right? It's huge, right? The Ram and again, right? This is the new and the old, right? And actually, one of the gods in the pantheon, right, in Dragonlance Shadow of Dragon Queen says gods across every world, not realm, not material plane, every world. Right? And I've been telling you for a while, you're not paying attention, right? The lore, the packaging, the narrative is connecting Dungeons & Dragons to worlds. Not material realms, not universes within, right? To universes beyond, right? Yeah, exactly, right? So it's just, and there needs to be, what's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box, right? Seven asked it first, I'm seven it now. Right? What is Dungeons & Dragons connected to, right? So we see these people of Vogler, they get on a raft made of 25 boats tied together, right? And they look back as Vogler burns, and they float down the Vingard River, and in one night they reach Calamon, right? Now, when they were looking back, they were unfortunate people, right? And they were sad people. One day before, when they lived in Vogler, the day before the Kingfisher Festival, they were upstanding citizens of Vogler. Right? They had home, they had wealth, they had multiple cloaks, right? Now they have ash, right? And literally what's clutched in their hand. They are sojourners, they are refugees, right? And F. Wesley Sneijder is saying, hey, I want to talk to you about sojourners. I want to talk to you about refugees. And you think he's doing that by accident, right? In my humble opinion, tell me if I'm wrong, right? This book came out in late 2022, right? Which means there still could have been work going on in Q1, right? So Vladimir Putin cracked the world in half and put us on a centimeter away from the edge of World War III on February 28th, right? So that means there might have been a month, 2 months where F. Wesley Sneijder was working on this with the Ukrainian refugee situation fresh in his mind, fresh in his mind, right? And this is why I keep saying Dungeons and Dragons is not like any other game. You're not going to get any allusions to the Ukrainian war, right, in OSC or in Pathfinder or any of that retro clone junk. They're too busy copying. They don't have time for fresh or innovative thought, right? But, right, Wizards of the Coast, like, they're not like Paizo, right? They're not like a shop where, you know, where their huddled scriveners need to unionize, right? They're treated with kindness and respect and are paid a living wage, right? I don't know, does Paizo pay a living wage? I don't know the answer to that. The fact that their people had to unionize last year, that doesn't sound good, right? I have no idea why in the middle of D&D, the D&D Begone controversy of January 2023, the Champion company was like, oh, we don't want a company who employs their employees and their employees are happy enough to say thank you for my check and would you please hire me again. We need a company that needs to unionize. That's the Champion company in all of this. It is mind-boggling difficulty to understand how anyone would possibly like choose Paizo over Wizards of the Coast. Saying, oh, we have a moral standard against Hasbro, but this company where their people had to unionize, right? Oh yeah, let's pick them as the new champion. It's utterly ridiculous. Okay, so in one night, right, the people of Vogler go from, in one night, the people of Vogler transform from upstanding citizen to refugee. They literally own nothing that is not in their hands. Everything they own is ash in the wind, right? That's a refugee, right? And in my humble opinion, F. Wesley Snyder is putting this is putting this front and center for you to consider and saying, I want you to think about refugees, right? Now, his knowledge of what was actually happening in the world, right, brought forward the very clear analogies to Ukrainian war that exist directly within Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, in my humble opinion. But F. Wesley Snyder's prescience then makes you think further about D&D refugees. Not my term. D&D refugee is being taught with the first place I saw it was my character sheet from comicbook.com, a YouTube channel that used that language first. And what's really fascinating is what is the shape of a refugee, right? Because the D&D refugees, they're different than any refugee we've ever seen, right? Like refugees are like, hey, I've been pushed out of my homeland, right? And all these D&D refugees, they're like, oh yeah, we lived in a palace, but we wanted a bigger palace, so that's why we're so that's why we're sojourning. Really, really fascinating, right? You know, so Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen is absolutely brilliant. I'm reading Moby Dick, and I'm like in right now, and because I've never been able to get through it, but I'm farther along than I've ever been before, and you know, Ishmael and Queequeg, and it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant literature, and that's what you're looking at with Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, and that's what you're looking at with every D&D canon hardback, right? If you want to go play a game, go to OSC and a million other places. If you want literature and art and passion, stay on D&D.